Motion's been made by Vieta, seconded by Kevin. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed. Up next, we have 2021-13. This has become kind of an interesting thing a little bit. This is a $10,000 request for additional appropriation for the interest that is due on the fire department radios. There seems to be a lot of issue with last year when those were purchased. There seems to be a lot of recollection of this conversation happening, that there was 1 year's grace period on the radios and not collecting interest within the first year. Do you have an opinion of that?
I do not
Yes.
yet have an opinion.
Okay. We're not actually sure whether we owe the interest or not.
We
So,
do.
I think we do. I think that's where we're getting at, is we do owe them that interest. Now, what we're doing is to actually review it, but with the additional appropriation component, we need 2 readings. So we're starting the ball rolling to say, if we approve it this month, it'll be back next month. If we don't need it, we'll just leave it. But I think we do need it, and I think that was just a miscommunication back when this whole project was ongoing. Any other questions? If not, I would take a motion to approve 2021-13 on first reading for an additional appropriation of $10,000. Motion's been made by Darrell. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vieta. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed. Okay. Another item that has come up is the animal control agreement funding from 2020. This was brought up, Betsy received you want to talk about that a little bit?
I received an invoice from the auditor's office that they had not invoiced the city last year for the animal shelter. But supposedly we have an agreement with them that we'll pay 50% of whatever the animal shelter turns in as used during a certain time period. So they sent us an invoice, and I questioned it because it was more than what was budgeted for 2020 in the first place. Then I talked to Josh because we didn't encumber it, because there was some discussion at another meeting that maybe we didn't want to be as involved with the animal shelter, the way I understood. So that was the question. Do we go ahead and pay? How much are we gonna pay? Is there an agreement?
The budget for 2020 was $55,000. And part of our conversation last year was that the budget for 2021 was to mirror to what it was for 2020. But they came to us and said we needed to be, I don't have that number, I apologize, $90,000. And we said, why such a dramatic increase? And they said, well, you haven't been paying for the health insurance of the employees. For this year, the county put that on each department. Now each department has to put that in their budget. And then we had that whole conversation last year about animal shelter, services rendered, et cetera, et cetera. We went ahead and upped our budget for 2021 to cover the added insurance component for the 2021 year. We talked about doing the review. We've heard from the animal shelter a couple times. So we were never presented, in my understanding, in 2019 when the budget was set for 2020, we had an expectation it would be less than $55,000. They come through and with their Form 1 that says it would be that. The council in 2019 approves the 2020 budget. It says, yes, $55,000 will cover that. We have that whole conversation. The county sends us a bill for 2020 in April of 2021 saying you owe us $85,217.54 for 2020. Without encumbering that funds, we don't have the funds available to pay that, other than we have the funds budgeted for this year's animal control agreement, which we could use to pay the invoice, but we would have to do an additional appropriation back and catch up for this year. Or we could double budget for next year and make the budget $170-some thousand and expect to pay the 2021 bill in 2022, and then pay the 2022 bill in 2023 with encumbered funds for 2022. Did that follow? Anybody write that down?
We have it on recording.
Okay, so I think part of it is a discussion about, do you want us to go ahead and pay the bill with this year's funds? Do you want us to discuss with the county more? Do you want me to, what do you want me to do? I've expressed frustration in getting a bill 5-6 months into the year for something that happened last year, but we're beyond that point, so. I also think that we have a better, yes, we are responsible for paying half of what they expend. I don't think it's fair that we were presented a Form 1 that did not include their full budget in the year previous. So I think going forward, we need to be sure that it does not exceed this, because we agree to pay half of this and not more than that. But I think we're getting through that whole process.
Budgeted 55,000.
Yes.
And they want 55, so, yeah, I'd say 55.
I think we are contractually obligated to spend whatever, or pay for half of whatever they spend, whether we like it or not. So that, which we could turn to legal counsel to help us redraft that agreement, should we choose. But yeah,
You like being contractually obligated to pay half of something you
no,
have control
of
over?
course not. But I do think that's a separate conversation that
I agree.
is.
From an accounting standpoint, it's easy to pay, just pay, just say you go, instead of paying part and then doing the whole complicated spiel that you just gave us.
I think we can get the county their money with this year's money, and then try to find what we believe to be the best solution for either way we have to spend money. I will warn you though, when we have the budgetary conversation, if we want to spend $170,000 next year, made up for 2 years, that's gonna throw that out of balance. We'll have to cognizantly be aware of that, because that's not a regular expenditure. Or we could go through the additional appropriation process and just get it all moved into this year. Either way, it doesn't matter.
This year would be cleaner.
Yeah.
This year would be cleaner.
Finance can.
Carol?
I'm sorry.
They think that we should just pay the money owed to the county for 2020 with 2021 funds, and then go through an
My
additional
train of thought
appropriation.
also.
Okay, and then we will start the additional appropriation to backfill those funds.
Just out of curiosity, the Animal Control Board, who are the 2 members you appointed?
Me, yeah, I don't remember, I can get that for you.
The board that is comprised doesn't even know ordinance.
I believe so.
So where are we taking the money from?
There's a line item for animal control this year. And then,
that's 50.
no, there's 90,000 this year, because we upped it, because we had that
So
conversation.
we're just taking from that.
Take it from that, but then we will have to go and do an additional appropriation from general
I got you.
to backfill. The board, yes, the board is functioning, it holds its events per this, I just can't. So with that, any other? I think a
Got a motion and a second.
Motion if I had a second by Darrell to do that, pay this year, go ahead and start.
Let's say second by Karen.
Second by
Yeah,
Kevin.
second by Kevin.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Up next on your desk when you walked in, you should have had a resolution 2021-04. This is for the State Ready Grant. This is the Regional Economic Acceleration Development Initiative that the governor's put together. This is an opportunity for regions to be formed across the state to incentivize investment. We are currently in discussion with, but really don't want to disclose who, to help facilitate a regional conversation to apply for these grant money. It is up to $50 million, 1-to-1 governmental match, and then 3-to-1 private sector match across the region. So it is up to $250 million of investment potential. And what you have in front of you is a ordinance that does not have a name for the region, but it does have all the other items. Is a very formal thing for the state to say that we are supportive of us engaging in that activity. It's a lot of money. Bryan, Robbins, and I have been discussing it pretty extensively. We've met with the county commissioners, county council. We've met with other counties to talk about what it is that we want to do. The problem is, and the reason I feel bad about this in telling you, is we have to have our region formed by July 1st. There isn't a financial commitment other than if we hire a consultant, but those fees would be pretty minimal and we could absorb those in the normal budget. So what this is saying that we support us working in a region. Bryan, did I miss anything on that, or?
No, I think you covered everything pretty well. It's just the expedited process of getting everything done makes it.
The state rolled this out mid-last month. They finally got us some direction. We got this copy this afternoon, and we have to have it done by July 1st, and then we have to be ready to go by next September. So
The quote they said was they are building the plane as they fly it. So.
any questions on that? I would. Any questions? I take a motion to support resolution 2021-04, please. Motion's been made by Kevin, is there a second? Second by Darrell. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, thank you very much. We will make some good progress on that hopefully over the next month. Up next, you have resolution 2021-05, it's the continuation of virtual meetings. This is post-health emergency. It allows us to meet certain guidelines and parameters for hosting virtual meetings in some capacities. It does require physical in-person meetings, but it would allow, Jamie's on a work trip tonight, he's actually working these hours, otherwise he could have joined in post-health emergency to this meeting. We could vote on things, he could engage, but we have to have a resolution. The resolution is the stock one that came from the state, and it just gives us the opportunity to engage in that going forward, should anybody need that. It does apply to all of our boards across the state, but only this board has, or across the city, but only this board has to approve it. Any questions on 2021-05? If not, we'll take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion's been made by Rick, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Kevin. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, one other real quick item. I went to the county commissioners this morning and asked for them to appoint one of them and Highway Superintendent Mark Moore to the Park Road sort of review committee. If one of you would be interested in serving on that, Ron, Mark, and I are sort of our liaisons, but if you'd like to be a part of that, you're more than welcome, but more of a public statement that we're still continuing to work on that, and we're making progress with them and communicating on what the intentions, desires, and planning for that is. Any questions? Okay, sort of last thing on our agenda is some updates from the police department. We swore in Thomas Tuttle as the newest officer of the GPD force late last week, so we're glad to have him. And as you know, tonight is Chief Brendan Bridges' last meeting with us as police chief. He is retiring July 16th. His last day as chief will be July 1st, and we're extremely grateful to have had him as part of our community for the last 20 years, and is truly someone who has served with a servant's heart. And while we are sad to see him go and from here and be a part of our team, I know I've been really grateful to have him as part of our team. I am confident that his role as the SRO for the schools is one of tremendous value to our community and one that we couldn't hardly replace. So with that, Chief, if you come on up, we have a small token of our appreciation. I know it's not 20 years worth of service in value, but your service to the community has been instrumental, and we are grateful for that. So thank you. And here comes Kristen. She's always a little slow. There you go, sir. You want to say anything?
I just want to say thank you very much for the past 7 years, all the support that you guys have given us, the police department. Like I said, it's definitely paid off with your guys' support. And like I said, we couldn't have made the moves, the accommodations that we've received, officers have received without the council and the board of works. And like I said, I can't say thank you enough to the boards for, like I said, trusting me and approving things that I brought forth to you, even though Daryl thinks I spent way too much money. I disagree. But like I said, I just want to thank everybody. And like I said, I want to thank my officers because again, the officers are truly the ones that make me look good. So like I said, I just want to thank everybody. Again, I'm still part of the community. I'm still going to be part of the police department, so I'm not going very far. Thank you.
And my complaints were in jest, I just want to make that clear.
Well, I want to make sure my last meeting, I used
You
borrowed
are-
some more money.
You are
so.
a true professional and a true friend. Thank you for your
Thank you.
service.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was an old document, sorry. So without much delay, since the chief's now got his date, July 1st, it is with great pleasure that I get to announce the next chief publicly for the first time here this evening. And I'm excited to have Assistant Chief Mike McNeely join our ranks as chief starting July 1st. So Mike, now this board gets to pick on you. So, thank you, Mike. He will start July 1st. Brendan's official retirement date is July 16th. So over the next month, they're going to work on a transition. We're hopeful that it's one of the smoothest ever. And obviously, they've had the opportunity to work together for several years. So we're very, very excited to promote Assistant Chief McNeely into the chief's role. And we're very, very excited about what's next for the department. So congratulations, Mike.
Thank you.
And then, to sort of wrap up things for the evening, I know, like I mentioned, Jamie is out of town on work this evening, so I'll give us a quick update on Board of Works, and we'll be out of here in exactly the same amount of time it took to do the Board of Works. So, we did opening bids for the Pirate Park entrance. We had 5 submissions to that. The low bid, which was awarded to Johannickman Excavating in Greensburg for $84,600. That is to construct a driveway drop-off zone with sidewalks up kind of to the top of Pirate Park and then down and across the street connecting the high school parking lot. So that will be very exciting to see that project start to take some shape, and we're hopeful to have that done yet this summer. We will see what their schedules allow. And then we also opened bids for CCMG 2021-1. This was for some microservicing. It was done, the bid was won by Pavement Solutions of Middletown, Indiana. It was $145,176 and some change. We are hopeful that they will complete that yet this year. We did approve road closures for the 4th of July parade and the fair parade. Both of those are taking place. Chief Stoermer came forward with some administration pay items for those that manage our Honda contract. Also purchased a training prop for the department that can be moved around and used at either station. We granted an absence without pay for an employee for health issues. And Sam and Ellie Akra, who are here this evening, are working with me this summer, and they presented a project that they are working on for the Board of Works approval, and they used our previously budgeted funds to work on construction of a outdoor fitness facility and gym along the multi-use trail in Rebecca Park. They've done a tremendous job of working with the Parks Department and doing an incredible amount of research and finding us affordable, high-quality items. So their next phase of that will be to start the logistics of getting it here. The Parks Department's gonna install it for us, and we will, be happy to have that as part of our new, addition to our cultural amenities, and something that allows, community enhancement. So, any questions from the board works? Anything else to come before the council? If not, we take a motion to adjourn. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed,